Okay, we're all set.
Yeah.
Please.
We're all set when I open this. You know, we can see everybody.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Nick's here.
Here.
Justin.
Here.
Cheryl.
Here.
Matt Walling is absent.
Motion to approve the agenda as it is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We can open up the public comment now, other than Corrigan. Go ahead.
I would like to just say thank you for everyone coming today. And one thing I found out is a lot of people didn't know anything about Corrigan and this whole ordeal. And I've just talked to people in the last couple days and they've had a lot of respect, and a lot more people would like to know about what is going on in the community. So maybe if that is the case, maybe sending letters for special meetings is a better way to go than putting it into the newspaper, because no one gets the newspaper. And just send it throughout the community.
Anybody else? Go ahead.
I don't feel it's a good idea to have Corrigan come down here to Cone Road, simple fact that they're using switchers.
Well, we'll open that up in a public
Okay,
comment.
all right,
So
go ahead.
anything else other than the Corrigan project? Go ahead.
I do want to say that I did personally mail letters to those that it was required to.
Yeah, I can get it.
Well, I mailed some and I believe Stephanie mailed some, so I mean, I was hoping to get at least one. So I'm glad you did get it, but I also want to say that it would be very difficult to mail letters to the entire community regarding things like this, but that's, you know, me still working in the background on a newsletter for the website, so I'm getting there, I'm getting there, guys, I swear. It's just things like this have come up, so. But we're working toward trying to inform everybody.
Could have the proposed applicant put the money out.
Is that it? Yeah, at this time, we'll start the public hearing, make a motion to start the public hearing. If you'd say your name and your address when you come up to help us out a little bit on the minutes and stuff that. I'll second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, at this time, we'll open up the public comments. To the four of them. Go ahead.
I don't feel it's necessary for Corrigan to come to, or for them to have a trailer place down here if they're gonna use switchers. I know it's not up to them, it's up to the state, but if you sit on the Ann Arbor Road and watch some switchers, pull out of that place where their trailers are now, and see how many cars get backed up behind them, you bring them another 3 miles down this road, we're gonna have problems. Buses, gravel trains. What kind, they would slow everybody down.
Okay. Anybody else? Go ahead, Matt.
Good evening, I'm Matt Michaels, I live on 15710 Cone Road. 2 houses directly east of Corrigan. I am opposed to it. First off, they had day and night trucks in there in December, I believe it was of 22. That obviously they did not get any approval of from the township. And there was probably about 75 to 100 of them for about a month and a half. When they did that, they was coming in at all hours of the night, hitting the trailers loud. That was the start of it. What they are proposing for the trailers and what is in the trailers is some of them pictures of what I've given everyone. And they are nasty recyclable stuff that it oozes the juices out. There's bugs, there's gnats. I went there on Saturday and it was only 65 degrees out and there was a decent amount of bugs and gnats. So when you take and put into consideration that them trailers are sitting for up to 4 weeks and it's middle of summer, what is that smell gonna do? And the west winds are always blowing 90% of the time. It is all sorts of different recyclable stuff. It is water bottles, pop bottles, pop cans, and laundry detergent. They get stuff, sweet sweepings, which is mixed loads from like Chicago and New York, which it could have anything in it. It could have hypernutrient or needles in it, even. That is one of the big reasons I don't think it's right. Second reason is going to be the noise of the trailers coming in, hooking up the backup alarms. Why do they need to take guns from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.? If that's gonna be, is that gonna be the propane part now too, that they're only allowed to run on that part because it's a new thing? and they're putting it all together. And if that's the case, the lighting they have, why does that need to be on throughout the rest of the night? Well, wouldn't that be able to be on just the same as the business hours? It ain't like someone's gonna go in there and steal a trailer of recyclable trash. I mean, and for them to say that they're only gonna be moving 30 trailers a day, that is totally wrong. They're gonna be moving 30 trailers to Clean Tech, which is about 6.5 miles or 2.5 miles from the previous, where the trailers are being stored right now. So, and it says reduced hours on weekends and holidays, but it does not say how reduced the hours are. So what is the reduced hours? And Clean Tech runs every day except Christmas. So we won't be able to sit out on our back decks and enjoy the sun or any of that, because we'll be listening to the semis coming in, coming out. The 30 trucks, does that include the Corrigan emergency propane trucks coming in? In their conditions, it said that they had the septic of the former lumberyard decommissioned, but on the plans, it shows that there's a septic tank lid. If the septic tank was decommissioned, it should be crushed and possibly, I don't know if maybe even hauled out because it's a commercial site. And then there is the ordinances that you guys have. Page 206, required green belt along street frontage. From what I read of it, and I don't know for sure, you basically need to have 13 trees on the front side. And then on the other side of the east side, it's about 62 from what that ordinance had said. I would like more trees. There needs to be a berm. Maybe the fence on the east side needs to be moved inward to where the berm is on the outside. If there's gonna be anything, that way they have to maintain up to the property line. There is no bathrooms or anything for the people to go to the bathroom. And then a very big thing is there is no physical separation of a fence of the propane side to the trailer storage side.
Say that again.
There is no separation in their drawings other than where the main tanks are, where they actually pump the stuff out, the propane out. Everything else is not gonna be fenced in to keep it separate. So any driver is gonna be able to go over to the other side into the propane area. And with that being said, you guys on the freeway side, there's about 80 foot of fence that's been down for 3 years. And you guys have never done anything with it. So right there, are you gonna have a security guard letting people in, or is it just gonna be a code that is all the time different or the same, so people can come in whenever they want? Thank you.
Anybody else?
I got two more questions.
Okay,
Hours of operation, I don't feel should be 6 a.m. if they do get this. I think if Milan vaults don't start till 7, they ought to follow the same thing. There's houses right in the area, that's one of the reasons Milan vault wasn't allowed to start at 7. And the other thing is the parking lot gonna be a drainable parking lot, or is it just gonna be a flat parking lot like they have down the road now, where there's no drainage? Because if there's seepage coming out of them trailers, that needs to be in a drainable parking lot where everything can flow to something where they can keep it from going into the ground. Thank you.
anybody else?
I'm Kent Nelson, I live on Crow Road. Are this?
What was your last name?
Kent Nelson,
Thank you.
yes. And is this gonna be just for trailers only, or gonna be trucks and trailers? And then also, are they gonna be able to sleep in their trailer, I mean, their car, trucks overnight if they want to? So if there's gonna be people spending the night, I don't think that's gonna be a good idea, living so close. And then are they gonna be in the future, is the zone allow them to have diesel fuel and everything, so they can have, you know, so they can refill their trucks and everything in the future, or is this zoning doesn't allow that? And another thing is, like was mentioned, is this gonna be gated, so they can't come and go when they want to? Or is this something that is going to be controlled, so they only can be there during the day? So,
What was your name again?
Kent Nelson,
Kent? Thank you.
yes.
Another, and it's a big question, is how is it that it's not gonna affect our property values? With the trash, the place down the road where the trailers are currently being stored. I know they ended up buying the neighbors
Off to the north.
off to the north because of the smell. So what's gonna guarantee that it isn't gonna, the smell ain't gonna take away from our property values? And taking and putting 6-foot pine trees when the trailers were 13 foot, that doesn't make a lot of sense. That's no good barrier. When you got the lights coming in at night, they're gonna shine into the people's houses. They need to have bigger barriers, or like a wall that's a sound deadening wall maybe. That might be the easiest way to do it, if they wanna do it. And then what's gonna keep the trailers from sinking after they put them in? And when they go to maintain the gravel lot, as it is spoken, where are they gonna put the trailers at that point?
Okay,
I'm Jeff Lenfesty. I live at 15776 Cone Road.
Jeff,
Jeff Lenfesty,
can you spell that?
LENFESTEY.
Thank you.
So I live right between like where the railroad and Cone Road, and then the Corrigan property, right between, like right to the east. So I also have concerns about like the smells from the trailers, potentially from blowing, or since the wind blows my direction very often, like daily. And like the lighting, also and like to have like a barrier more than trees, like a berm with trees or higher fence option. And I understand that the residential house will be removed and the entry for the property will be moved down closer to where I'm at. You know, like the concern about like the lights and like if the trucks, like if the trucks are normal trucks that would need like engine brakes. Also like the set, like how often it would be that the engine brake would be used, unless it's only gonna be switcher trucks, which aren't as powerful, of course. And it's mainly like the smell and the, like how like the congestion or of the traffic increase. And also like the, yeah, like the visual, also like was mentioned before about, you know, property value, about like if, you know, someone, like if, you know, so the property value in the future, they have that, the neighboring property with the truck storage be not like as blatantly seen, but have like more like either burn trees or higher fence or something that would block that. I know the smell, you know, of course, it would be tougher to avoid. But at least like the visual, like if this is for sure going to happen, at least like visual would be really helpful. I think that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Hey, Pat,
Hmm?
I'd like to say, and I know it's too late to go tonight, but if anyone would like to go to the trailer yard that's on Ann Arbor Road, I'm sure they would let you look at what's in them trailers, use occupancy for the seepage and all that for yourself. They've been doing the business for 8 years, so they've kind of gotten it figured out, but obviously there was complaints this summer about the bugs. And that is why they ended up buying the house, so just, if you guys keep all that into consideration.
Anybody else? You have any comments? Public hearing, okay. Sharon?
Sharon Worcester, 10712 Denison Road. I was just wondering, has there ever been with Corrigan a two-company deal like what they're trying to do right now? And I agree with the fence that there needs to be some kind of a barrier, or divider, because we just don't know what's going to happen these days. We're playing with propane. And then we're bringing in drivers that think they know how to drive, and so there's gotta be some safety going on within there. I think that we need to really look at how many tractor trailers or the trailers that are gonna be there. And I think it's a great idea to have somebody really, a watch person, to make sure the hours are going correctly and they're catering to the residents that have to live around it. Thank you.
I think the staff is gonna be one of the big things.
Where the existing concrete and that is all of that gonna be torn out too? That would be another thing, because obviously if it isn't, that stuff is just gonna sit on top. So that would keep the slime and smell and all that, and cause more chances of rodents and that. And another thing that I noticed, Pat, on one of the RD two ones, they're gonna go and repave it, but then halfway through where they're turning, they're wanting to, that instead of the shoulder being paved, they're wanting to gravel it for probably 50 to 100 feet, which doesn't make much sense. But that's what it says on the plans. Why wouldn't they just pave it the whole distance? And, from what I gathered of the fence, it looked like the water was gonna go down to 23 and then over to the pump station. Well, that pump station is directly behind my property. And there's water that sits there quite often. So with them adding the water, more water to it, it's gonna sit more because it needs to actually be dug out. And I know that's an MDOT thing, but it's a problem. And I mean, we've all known when that's flooded down there, what it's like. And if you're dumping a lot more water down there, it's gonna be pretty bad.
Has something? I thought you were raising your hand.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Investment in steps.
That might be.
Okay, that's it. I'm gonna make a motion to close the public hearing at this time. Wait a second.
Second
All in favor of closing the public hearing?
it. Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Unfinished business. Now's the time that we got any questions to ask them, we ask them.
I just have one comment that we did not receive the set of 14 conditions until October 9th, which was yesterday.
Today.
The 8th, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And October 8th, and so we didn't have a lot of time to look at them. So I was kind of concerned that some of the things that was offered, the 16 conditions aren't the same as ones here, and there's been some changes in there for us to try and think about since yesterday. So it's really got a lot of time.
Definitely happy to speak on any of those. All of them should be in line with what your attorney recommended. Or if they were removed, it was for one, things that we've already done. Example, removal, demolition of the existing commercial building. That's already been done. Doesn't need to be a condition for the zoning. Me being a representative, you guys have a different document stating that now, so we've removed it as a condition. Things like that have been removed. If there are questions, happy to speak on any of them.
Yeah, why did you take out your, I'll tell you, item 13 is understood that the intended use of the site will involve cartage business. Why'd that one get pulled?
Your attorney did not like the language of it is understood that the intention
Yeah,
is, so we
correct.
replaced it with the use of the property will be for cartage and propane. That should be a line item on your conditions.
So you took
It's
out,
clearly stated now instead of being an understood item.
you took out such as plastic bottles, plastic pellets, machine parts, cardboard boxes.
Correct. We did not put that as part of the zoning that will travel with the use of the property. We had included that previously as knowledge for the board. So for the zoning of the property that will float as a condition, this is the use is going to be cartage and propane operation. As set forth in, we reference the plans a lot because we've already put down on paper what we intend to do exactly on the property. So we do reference the plans in most of those things. For example, I think landscaping was brought up. We've previously offered the board to give us a recommendation on something different, where we took out the condition that we've moved this landscaping to this, from this side to this side in this amount, and we replaced it with, we're going to carry out the landscaping for the plans. Because the plans do reflect more landscaping on the east side than what the ordinance currently calls for.
Just for the board's information too. The list of conditions or offer of conditions will be recorded as well as the site plan. So anything on the site plan will also be recorded with Monroe County. They're not suggestions or requirements.
Well, the site plans say that you're gonna use it for plastic bottles and plastic storage. Is that correct? The plans?
Oh, I do not know that specifically. I don't think so.
The language is not on the plan.
So that's changed.
And the other question is, why did you add this? A remedial violation of any of these conditions shall not result in a loss of rezoning, blah, blah, blah.
On the encouragement of our in-house attorneys, we have to include something that provides us a reasonable remediation of an issue without us losing our zoning on the property entirely. We believe that's fair. It would be actually in accordance with your existing ordinances. We do get an opportunity to rectify our discretions.
Can you explain a little bit more, item 10, the vehicles in the business on the property will not be parked and left running for a period exceeding 10 minutes during the hours of 9 PM and 6 AM. Can you define that a little more?
Yes, the intention there is that the site does not allow for overnight parking of running vehicles. However, our legal team wants us to have a reasonable amount of time for if a propane operation 24 hours or a government entity needs to access the site, someone can be there. We don't intend to have anyone parking a running vehicle overnight, but if they happen to access the site, it won't be running for more than 10 minutes before they are done.
I don't get that one either. I still don't get that one.
It just doesn't
They're
allow
gonna be
us.
closed between 9 PM and 6 AM. So why would anything be running?
It wouldn't be.
Shouldn't be.
There's gonna be no overnight parking.
I know, that's what you're saying, and why'd you put this in here? This
The
makes,
site will not have overnight parking of running vehicles.
But it says for a period of exceeding 10 minutes during the hours between 9 PM and 6 AM.
That was put in by our legal team as if we were to have a truck pull in at 9 PM and he has not turned off his vehicle within 10 minutes, we have a reasonable amount of time. Before we lose our zoning on the property.
Any questions from you, Cheryl?
So just deciphering all these changes in the previous one.
What do you think, Cheryl?
I think I'd like to make a motion to table this until we can consult with our engineer and our attorney more about some of these issues, because this was just brought to our attention and it is kind of, we don't know, even though you're saying additional things, it's not clear on here to me. Compared to, we took out some of the things here and we added some more here yesterday. And so that provided you time to speak with your legal counsel and allowed us nothing, basically.
I have to
say-
agree with her on that, because this happened yesterday, there's a lot to take in and we don't have answers and don't want to make a rash decision, and to table it would be till the next meeting till we get some of this found out.
And comments from the public hearing. I mean, I just,
Go over some of that and see if there's something we can't resolve to try to make everybody happy. I know we're not gonna do it, but there's a few things that did, come up with to make sure that we don't have problems, so.
Yeah, we understand.
Well, where we're sitting, just so you understand this, we got a response from our attorney addressing these changes of the conditions today. This came to us today, so, and I mean, I don't know.
At 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it was later in the days, but just, and it changed them. So that kind of put a little,
Okay, so you're gonna make a motion to,
I did make a motion.
okay, I'll second that motion
what was the motion? I'm sorry.
to table it till
Table
the
it till
next
next
meeting, so we
meeting.
have time to go over it. Get a second?
I made the
I'll
motion.
second.
All right. All in favor for tabling this till the next meeting? Opposed? Motion carries. All right, now, public comments, 5 minutes of public comments. Everybody got any comments?
According to you guys's, ordinances, there is a required green belt along the street frontage. And it's basically 20-foot wide green belt. And that there should be a be planted along a 20-foot, one canopy tree, one rounded tree for every 40 feet. And then on the other side, where it butts up to other people's property, it will be changed to industrial, so it will be B. And it's supposed to be a 20-foot buffer zone, 6-foot high continuous wall or 3-foot high berm, one canopy tree, one evergreen tree, 4 shrubs every 30-foot lineal foot along the property line rounded upward.
What page
Is-
is that? Are you on- are you
That
on-
is page 207. And 206. Then one of your ordinances, and I don't know if it would apply. It's on page 208, parking lot landscaping, off-street parking. Shall have 1 1/2 square feet of landscape area for each 100 square foot. And then for the first 50,000 square foot, it says paved area though. So there should be something, if it's not paved, there should be some other way it should still work in. As far as more area. As far as a buffer and that. And if that would be on the east side, and I think maybe they should put it back on the west side too and have it all the way around.
They complied to the ordinance based on square running footage of the property itself. What we did several months ago to somewhat appease you is to put a lot of the landscaping on the east side in lieu of just being in the front of the building.
And is it only gonna be 6-foot tall trees?
That's what it has in the drawings. But you're not gonna get a 13-foot tall wall either.
That was a 15-foot.
Any more comments?
All the questions and comments that were brought up tonight, are we gonna receive answers to those? So we get some sort of reply back.
We're gonna work on them, yeah.
Okay, and when would that be at the next meeting? We hear those
Probably
answers?
more than likely, yep.
I'm gonna go back to them not taking and doing any of this when they had Day and Ross in there. So you gotta look at that track record too of they already did stuff illegally, so what's gonna stop them from doing it again?
What happened again? I didn't
When they
hear
had the
you.
Day and Ross trucks and trailers in there for about a month and a half,
Whose trucks and trailers?
Day and Ross, because they was taken and Georgia Pacific had lost the contract and Day and Ross picked it up. So there's storing the trailers over there. And it was probably December of 22, 23. It was before Stacy was here because she did not know nothing about it. So maybe they can look into that a little bit too.
We
So
have a new zoning administrator that's on top of that now.
Yeah.
We didn't, the township hasn't had that in decades.
Yeah, apologies. I started with Corrigan in January of 23, so
No.
I
There was nothing on our side that was purposely done.
Sharon?
I'm just wondering, is it safe for these two entities to come together? I mean, with all the drivers that are out there?
to quell your concerns, everything that we do on a propane side has to be regulated by the state of Michigan. If you go to the site right now, the propane dispensers are fenced.
They are.
And they have to be per state of Michigan regulation.
I agree, I understand.
However, the tanks that are empty and stored on site don't have to be fenced off. So that would be kind of the,
I understand that they're fenced off, but that fence can be snipped real easy. I'm talking about if
Well,
a
any
trailer,
fence could be,
Right,
right, like a thief could enter any property, right? That would be the argument.
no, that, it's, the whole idea is that if you have drivers, you're gonna have different people coming in there every day, picking up these trailers. I know that they're not the best drivers sometimes, and accidents do happen.
Yeah, so you're worried about a crash,
Yes.
crashing into.
So we do have all
Do you have
insurance.
barriers?
You want crash bollards on live.
I want, exactly.
We have to have bollards on any live tank.
It's just a comment.
It's a-
It's, yeah, and it's
Law.
sectioned off. I mean, any facility that we run has to be at state regulation. You're 100% correct as far as bollards and crash protection, whether it be bin blocks, we take it very seriously.
Okay, yeah.
Safety is kind of like one of our biggest, you know.
I just don't
Should
see
be
that.
just total
If the tank
separation.
has fuel in it,
I
it's
understand.
bollards.
It's just a
If
comment
it's a
period,
non-live
Stacy.
tank, we don't take
I
it.
understand, yeah.
But we don't ever want any
Don't, don't,
fuel
yeah.
concern
I
on
know.
standpoint.
And we're not looking to underdevelop the site. Some of the things about seepage and rodents and stuff like that, that's not how we
Oh, they're
operate.
one folder.
You know, we're a family-run business and that's, you know, we take safety and cleaning up our site to our core, you know.
So can I ask this question?
Absolutely.
So obviously now it's not going towards clean tech as far as what the trailers that are coming in. So it's just gonna be whatever business cartage you can get or in that,
This is for the tenant.
Yeah. Yeah,
it is still for clean tech.
And those trailers aren't to be opened on the property either. All those pictures that are open trailers, the trailers are remain
To
closed.
remain
There's-
closed.
There's a lot of questions that I think we can get more definitive answers for you guys. Hopefully to put some of this at ease.
Hey,
Where are the switcher trucks gonna be?
The switcher trucks will operate within state of Michigan law on the roads that they are permitted. They will all be licensed on the road, otherwise they're not allowed to leave the site.
Why can't you guys do regular tractors instead of switchers? I know it's
Um,
more work for the driver, but you know what?
you know,
A
the
little more work
tenants,
isn't gonna
the
be.
tenant's operation is not my.
Yeah, that's all for.
Unfortunately.
okay, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn the
Thank you.
public hearing meeting and go on to our special meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor? All,
Vote.
Just a second.
Okay.
Sitting in for. Who's your last time? He's out of state.